There he is. Boom. Ooh, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. Oh boy. Sweet. Oh, it's a double. Look at that. Two of them. All right, man, we're on the beautiful Loch Reservoir, and today what we're going to be doing, something a little bit different. We are going to be jigging for white perch. Yes, white perch. I'm not bass fishing. We are going to be white perch fishing on the Loch Reservoir. How do we go about it? Well, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing two different techniques. We're going to be doing snap jigging with 2 shad darts, and as well we are going to be jigging, but we're going to be rigging this up slightly different with a drop shot kind of bait. We're going to be having a weight on the bottom, 2 loop knots, same kind of jigs, but we're going to be jigging with that weight on the bottom as well in order to catch these fish. So let's get to it and see what we can do, right? All right, so we're going to talk about rigging. So how I have this rigged up, I have 2 shad darts that are attached with a loop knot. And the reason why we use this loop knot, it's going to allow this jig to have more of a natural presentation in the water, where it's not constricted because it's not tied directly up to the eyelid. This knot allows this jig to sway and pendulum as it's going down to the bottom when you're jigging. So you're going to get a lot more strikes by using that style of knot. Right, so the next thing that we're going to talk about are jigs. What jigs to use? So my favorite jigs are anything from a shad dart to a hair jig, a feather jig. All these different assortment of jigs work so well when it comes to catching these white perch. And the beauty of it is they're not that expensive and they last a very long time, because fishing for these fish, you're typically not fishing for them up against structure or anything like that. You're really just trying to identify the right bottom that these fish are hanging at. So all of these different jigs are perfect to use for fishing for white perch. So your next style of jig, these are not going to be used for a snap jigging technique. These are more or less what you want to be using if you're trying to cast and retrieve to catch these fish. But the busting baits are a classic, man. It's essentially a beetle spin, but that is a really effective bait. Small spoons work really well, and you can get various jigs with underspins or just straight jigs that you can match with curly tail grubs, and rooster tails are another really effective bait. Once again, when you're fishing for these fish, there's not a lot of structure. You're really just letting this thing get down to the bottom, and you can cast and retrieve and use these as well. All right, so the last thing to talk about is the snap jig. So what I'm doing is I'm going to cast this bait out and let this thing get to bottom. It has to get to bottom. The next thing I'm going to do is, once I establish that bottom, I'm gently just going to pop this thing a couple times and follow that line all the way back down the bottom. And it can't be super slack. You can't be pulling the line down. You have to just follow that bait down with your rod tip back down the bottom. And what you're looking for is, you're going to feel a tick, or you're going to visually see your line start to move before you go to set the hook. And that's when you got to bite. And then other than that, man, you just keep repeating the process and you'll catch tons of fish. Ooh, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. Oh, it's a double. Look at that. 2 of them. Yeah, once you get over to school, man, it's lights out, man. You tear these things up, dude. 1 and 2, which is a fatty. Oh, okay. Look at that. Cool, man. 2 perch. Nice one too. There he is, man. Look at that. Yeah, these reservoirs hold really nice perch, man. They really do. And it's fun snap jigging for them. I could do this all day, man. Check that out. 25 foot of water. Long cast, and just letting this thing pendulum all the way down to the bottom. thing all the way down there. I'm gonna tie on a heavier jig probably. I got that top jig, that feather jig is really light. I'm gonna go with a heavier jig on the top if you want to retie this thing. But all I'm doing, man, is just letting that thing go back down to the bottom, snap jigging it up, and I'm just following that line right on back. Now I'm just guiding that thing right on back now. Popping it up. And just letting that thing pendulum all the way back down, just following it down. These jigs are super light, so it's not quick. Just gonna follow that thing all the way back down like that. There he is. Oh, I missed him. Nope, got him. He came back to it. That's a nice perch too, man. Sweet. You're right in that like 20, 25 foot of water is the ticket. That's where these things are hanging at. That's a nice fish. Oh, I got two of them. 2 perch, man. 2 perch. There's a million perch down here. There we go. Oh, that's a nice one. There we go. That's what I'm talking about, boy. Sweet. That's a nice perch. It's a real nice perch. Look at that. Not massive, but it's a solid 6, 7 incher. There he is. Ooh. All right, that's gonna be my last one. That is going to be, oh, we ended off on a good one too, man. Look at the size of that perch, man. I got the biggest of the day. Holy mackerel, man. Boom, boy. Sweet. There she is, man. Gotta love that, man. Loch Raven Reservoir. Catching some nice white perch, baby. We'll take this. What a blast. All right. Sweet. Love it. All right, man, that's gonna wrap this thing up, man. The last thing I do want to talk about, though, is location. Location, location, location. What to look for when you're out on the reservoir in order to catch these perch. And for me, I like to find the edge of those grass lines, which are usually going to kind of fizzle out around that 15 to 20 foot of water. If you're dropping these jigs down and you're pulling up a lot of grass, you're not where you want to be to catch these perch. So what I would do is I'm going to pull up the nautical chart and I'm going to go ahead and show you. So you have the boat ramp, and then coming down, there's a point right at the end here. And just off that point in that like 20 to like 30 foot of water, you have a hard bottom. You have no grass, and these perch are stacked up in these general locations. And you can use this pretty much anywhere on the whole reservoir, man. I mean, you can find different locations that have that same kind of contour and structure. And really when I'm talking about structure-wise, I'm really just referring to the bottom, that hard bottom. You don't want grass, you don't, none of that. I mean, you catch yellow perch in there, but no grass. These white perch are not going to be hanging in that. You want a clean bottom. And yeah, man, you just kind of, depending on which way the wind's blowing, the wind was blowing me out, so I would get up into the grass, and then once my drift would kind of get me past it, I'd take a look at my depth finder, and once I got past that grass line, boom, I'd just start jigging right in there, and then I would fish for probably about, I don't know, 5 minutes, and then the wind would blow me out into 50 foot of water, which was too deep. So it was a little bit tough. It was a rental boat. I don't have spot lock, or I didn't really want to drop an anchor either, just because I do like to drift. You know, I like to drift through and see if I can find, you know, better concentration of these fish throughout. But nonetheless, yeah, you know, I hope that kind of helps you guys to be able to go out and catch a bunch of perch on these reservoirs, man. No live bait needed. You could just take a bunch of simple jigs and go out and catch tons of these fish, man. And dude, it's a lot of fun. It really is, man. Especially on days where, you know, the bass fishing's tough, man. Post spawn, and a lot of these bass are like suspended out, you know, deeper water and stuff like that. And they're pretty tough to catch, man, if you do not have electronics, like, you know, the truth be told. And it's really hard to kind of like locate an isolated school of bass and throw some heavier, you know, underspins or jigging spoons or whatever you wish. Regardless, you know, if you're having tough days out in the middle of summer, dude, those perch are a great way to catch tons of fish, or if you want to take the kids out, whatever it may be, man, whatever your personal preference. If you just want to catch some fish, dude, ultralight tackle, can't beat it. Yeah, man, I got nothing else to say other than go out and do it yourself, man. If you catch a couple and you find a nice spot, we'd like to hear from you here at Shorelines, man. Until next time, see you guys.